What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today I am following along Laura Lee's makeup tips and tricks for sculpting your face and DIY plastic surgery. I am following Laura's makeup hacks to transform your face, DIY plastic surgery. I get it's a clickbait title, but I don't love that title with the plastic surgery. But anyway, today I'm going to be following along her tips and tricks just to see how it works on me, what I think about it. I would love to know what you guys think, if you notice any major differences in me looking more snatched. If you're interested in my eye look, I do have a tutorial on that. It'll be linked up above and also down below if you want to check it out at the end of the video. There's also a link in the description box where else you can find me on social platforms to connect with me more. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I love doing this kind of content for you guys, but also let me know what you'd like to see from me. And without further ado, let's get into the transformation. All right, we are looking quite lovely at the start of this video. Okay, so I am starting off with her concealer trick. I'm not going necessarily in the order of her video because that's not how I'm doing my makeup. And yeah, so for the concealer, if you are like me and you live somewhere where you have the air conditioning running a lot, I live in the desert, so a lot of my products feel like cool to the touch, so it can be kind of hard to work with them and to get them to blend. So like my secret is that whatever products I have, like especially if you have an older mascara that's starting to dry out, I really recommend this. I just like put it between my thighs while I'm sitting here and I let my body temperature warm the product up, and it's going to make it blend a lot easier. And with the mascara, it's not going to be as dry because it's heating the product up, so it's a little bit more in its creamy, liquidy, whatever consistency mascara is. So I have the Tarte Shape Tape, but this is the Double Duty Beauty, and this is the Ultra Creamy. So this is supposed to be more hydrating. This is in the shade N12, 12N, I said it backwards. So yeah, I really love this, not doing the whole triangle thing under our face. And let's see what Laura has to say and where we should be placing our concealer.
What we've learned from makeup artists and sharing with one another is not using so much. So let me show you where I place it. I mean, you guys have probably seen this before. I'm not the inventor of this, but I have darkness. So I pull it out, and you can even, if you want to go ahead and contour your nose, not too much, because this is the Hourglass one, girl. It is so full coverage. And we're gonna go right with our liner like that. And then if you have a little redness through here, like
I've never done
this
it
there
before.
And you can even go here and start to chisel that out. Fabulous. So I'm going to do it on this side. It's a really big difference I've noticed, just like in the way my makeup wears and the way it looks to do my concealer like this. My product also lasts me like 20 years longer than it did before. So it's a money saving technique. And another good trick is to let your concealer warm up in your face, so you can go ahead and do your contour right now while it's warming up, but it's a game changer.
Like that. I know some people go down the center of the nose, but no matter what trick it is, it doesn't work for me because my skin is so dry, my nose is super finicky, and it will just lift off. So all right, so she is doing cream contour. I actually just threw a bunch of makeup out because the cream contour that I had was like almost 3 years old, and that's disgusting. So I will come back with, and I also don't have a contour powder, I only have bronzer. And I know, like before the comments say it, I know that bronzer is not the same as contour, and we shouldn't be using bronzer as contour, but I'm going to kind of like dabble a little bit to get that effect. I also have this cream blush, so I'm going to kind of put that in the contoury areas and see how that works out for us. So making adjustments as we go. All right, so she's like putting it on her forehead, on her cheek. I mean, you're watching the video, you see what she's doing. So I'm going to just like dot a little bit, and this is a Rare Beauty blush in the shade Bliss. and she lets this sit on her face again, but I know this product enough that I literally have to blend it right away. And I kind of like doing this with my blush anyways, like having it further back because I have a heart-shaped face, and it just like helps, gives me a little bit more of the cheekbones and angles.
Just gonna add a little bit of contour, and I'm doing this while my concealer is warming up. This is really a sculpting technique. You can give yourself intense cheekbones, a plumper lower lip, nice sharp jawline, all with contour. One thing I've learned though, you can always add a little more contour if it's blending out too thin. Don't put too much on your face. I used to put way too much on my face and it was way too intense. Do a little bit on my nose. I don't contour my nose much because it doesn't look that skinny, but if you actually know my nose, it's like a bone. Like my whole nose is so, do you see that? Like how long and pointy my nose is? So my top of my nose doesn't lay flat, so it's hard to contour. It's actually like really thin and skinny, and there's a big hump here. So I avoid this area because anytime I've ever added a lot of contour right there, it enhances that hump. I don't want that. So now we're gonna take our beauty sponge and we're gonna go ahead and blend out our warmed up concealer.
So you can kind of see how even with the blush, it's giving me a little bit of a sculpted look. And I'm gonna do the same thing on my nose. I love the whole blush on the nose thing. I think it's so cute. So that's typically where you would apply the contour. It's gonna blend out anyways, but I was like, let me just fake apply it. And by the way, if you were curious for my foundation, because I started the video with foundation on and I didn't mention it, I love the Physicians Formula, the Healthy Foundation. This has been my go-to since quarantine, honestly, and this is in the shade E01. And I also picked up the Uma Beauty Flawless IRL Skin Perfecting Foundation. This is in the shade Fair Lady T1. It's too dark. Okay, like I bought this when it launched and I was like, I'm gonna get tan this summer, and then I never really went outside, so. I will never learn my lesson, I feel like, of buying the shade that I am in foundation, if that makes sense. I wish I bought a lot lighter shade because I do like the foundation a lot. I do have a review, so I will link that for you. So as you can see, I let that blush sit for a minute on my nose, and you can see the lines a little bit more defined because it didn't want to blend as easily. So I'm just going to take a wee bit more and blend it because I can't help it. Does anybody else hate that the Shape Tape concealer is so freaking messy? It's getting all over my makeup products. Would you guys also be interested in seeing like my everyday makeup? Because I have a makeup case here with my go-tos, and I also have the drawers back there. So if you're interested in seeing like what my everyday makeup, like what my go-to makeup is, like tour my makeup desk. I saw that Manny uploaded a video titled that last night. I haven't watched it yet, but if you're interested, let me know. So I think it's about time to blend this concealer. Did I wait too long? Help. I can always put some more foundation on top to blend it, but I feel like I waited maybe a few minutes too long. But I see that effect. That is looking a little snatched. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I could have put a little bit more to help it extend upwards. Because I never think to highlight this part of my face. And I already have my wing there, but like Laura says in her video, it's a great trick to clean up any eyeshadow, to clean up or sharpen your wing. See, it's already like a little bit patchy right there. I feel like I waited a minute or two too long before I blended.
So that's why I have a flat side to my sponge with a very intense point to just bake. And you can do whatever you want with your sponge. We all do our makeup different, but this is awesome for baking. So I'm going to set, this will also brighten that under eye too if you have darkness. I have darkness, and I'm gonna pull it out. So I have this sharp point, and look, snatch it. So here fits perfectly. We're gonna get a little more baking powder and we are just going to pull it out. Beautiful. The chin. Oh, I need to blend my chin a little more. We're gonna bake it. A little bit of bakage on the nose. A lot of bakage through here. I bake my whole upper lip because sometimes it has darkness. And I'm like, get out of here. Okay, and then we gotta bake the forehead a little bit. This is really gonna lock everything in place too. So all these cream products are not gonna be sloughing around all day. And then I'll bring this up onto the sides of my nose a bit. Bake that cake.
I don't like using the Laura Mercier because I feel like I'm too pale for it. It makes my under eyes yellow. So I have the Maybelline Fit Me, which is a powder foundation, but it's fine. Normally I like to go in with a brush. So this is a Real Techniques contour brush and I just like setting with powder. I couldn't tell you the last time I baked. Like it's been years. So what I'm going to do is kind of re-blend out my under eye. And I have this Ego Tool sponge and I love this flat edge because it is really good for like cutting when you're baking. Oh, I'm already starting to feel crusty and dusty. All right, so she also bakes right between her brows. Oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my God. All this powder. She also puts it down the center of her nose, but again, I know it's just going to lift up on me. So I'm not going to do that. And then this is also supposed to help like with contouring your nose. So down on my chin and stuff, I'm just like really pressing this. Oh my God, my eyes are watering. So she's doing a light set. So it looks like she's kind of doing a light set, but not really dusting away the powder under her eyes quite yet. So this is what I normally do as well. Even though I have dry skin, I do get like shiny throughout the day, especially if I'm wearing my makeup a while. So this is just an e.l.f. complexion brush. And then again, I pick up barely any. I tap off most of it. And then I just lightly go around and set my face.
It's a light set. And then what I tend to do is do my blush. So today I'm just using one of my e.l.f. blushes. It's like a pretty mauve color. The sticker came off the back, so I don't even know what color this is. But what I like to take an angled brush, and what I used to do, which is kind of trendy to do now, is like to do it all on the apples and on the nose and that. But for me, whenever I take pictures, it literally looks like two circles of like a bright color. So what I like to do is just more so, do you see how I'm like pulling it back? Okay, so you can totally tell right now. Do you see how we're looking a little more rosy through here and not through here? But I don't focus it right here in the apple of my cheek. I drape it. And you can like literally press a little flat brush, or an angled brush, I'm sorry, like this, and just drape it on back. And it really gives you like this beautiful flush that's not too intense in the front of your face.
So I see what she's saying with flicking it upwards. That's normally how I apply my blush anyway. I'm gonna be gentle with this since I don't have the cream contour down, and then whatever is left, I like to bring the color up into my forehead, and normally I would put more on the center of my nose. Today for blush, I'm using the Lunar Beauty Moon Prism palette. I love this blush palette, and I'm gonna be using a combo of these two. It's mirrored in my monitor, so I always do the opposite.
Now what I'll do, you can do blush, bronzer, bronzer, blush. I sometimes mix it up and do whatever, mix them up, you know what I'm saying? A mistake I used to do is I used to take a brush about this big and just go ham with bronzer and just pa, 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 pa. everywhere. And the thing is, you don't really want your bronzer to drop into this area. You want to keep this area light, because what you're going to do is you're going to create a like super sharp, beautiful structured cheekbone. So bronzer is such a great thing. That is why whenever I make my bronzer brush, it's small.
So for my brush, this is just an angled brush from BH Cosmetics. It's pretty tiny, and then I have my NARS Laguna bronzer.
Cheekbone area. I'm just using the Hoola bronzer, by the way, guys, right there. And if you drop it a little low down here, don't worry about it, because we're gonna bake that and clean it all up. So we're just gonna hit the jawline. You can sharpen the jawline a bit, all through here. And then I'll go ahead and anywhere I cream contoured, I'll add a little bit of bronzer.
All right, so I do like putting bronzer on my nose, and she also said it's time to wipe away any excess powder, so I'm not vigorously rubbing my face. And she also said if you look a little powdery, that's fine. Setting spray will help fix that. And then she also baked to reinforce more of that structured contoured look. My nose looks like the Sahara Desert, and I just have a little pimple right there that I thought was a piece of like dust or something, and I scratched it, so love that for me. This is another more so why I love the Eco Tools sponge, because it is nice and sharp. Oh, I'm doing the Jaclyn Hill, and she did one of these.
Now it's about time to wipe away this powder, so I'll just sweep away the excess powder. And the thing is, if you're still looking a little powdery, that's when setting spray is going to come into play, and it's going to take all that like super matte powdery look away. Sharpen this. So I'm going to take the flat end of my sponge. I'm going to saturate it with powder, and sometimes I don't do all this because it's like doesn't need that much powder, but you totally can. And this is like such a game changer for my face. It just completely snatches.
So I'm just adding some highlight, and another tip from her video is that she highlights the very center of her forehead. So I'm gonna let this sit for a minute. I'm gonna finish up my lower lash line and be back to wrap this up and check it out and be like, do I love it? Do I hate it? So I will be right back.
You don't have to use much at all, but what I do is I get a little clump of it, and you can, again, can do this with your Got2b, and with the spoolie I'm just trying to work it into the hair, and as you can see they're starting to stick up. So what I do to start is I'll pull my brows like all the way up. Do you see how my brow just wants to go whoop straight down my face? I'm like, rude. It's honestly not flattering for me. It like pulls my face down. So look, I take these in hairs. Instead of shaving off, I could shave off all of this and just draw my brows straight out, but I don't wear makeup all the time. I'm not one of those people who put makeup on every day. I'm okay with a natural face, so I want to have a little bit of brow. So I don't shave it off. I've been tempted to in the past. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I pull them straight up and out, and it is a game changer. And then what we're gonna do, I take the flat end, because I'm telling you, your finger has oils on it, and for some reason when I do it with my finger, it doesn't stick as well as when I use the plastic on any type of, you can use anything. Literally, you could use like this brush, like it's whatever. As long as it's like a hard surface that it won't stick to. See how they grow straight down? If I filled this in going straight down, when I look straight at you, it would literally look like this by the end, like my eyes like this.
All right, it is time to finish this video up. So for brows, she does use the ABH Brow Freeze, which I have and I personally love. So she says that this is like another facelifting technique, because like when your brow hairs are up, you look a little like, So I'm gonna test that out. We're gonna see how big of a difference it does. If you want to learn more about this product, I also have a first impression video floating around on my channel. And in her video, she does the gel first and then fills in, but as we saw, I don't really have brows, so I prefer to fill in first and then use the gel. So if you have pretty good brows, you're fine just using the gel and filling it in the spots that needs it. What I love about this product is that once you have it on, you can kind of see like any holes that you need to fill with your brows. So here is the before, and oop, remove the dog hair. And I don't press this into my skin. I'm barely kind of touching the brush onto what am I saying? I'm barely touching the spoolie onto the hairs. So this product really does last forever. It's not a lot. To me, that makes the splurge worth it, is that I've had this since it launched. I think I got it a month or two after it launched, and I still have so much, and you barely need any. And I just swirl the spoolie. This is the same way I apply mascara. And I focus a lighter amount of product on the hairs in the front. And then I pick up a little bit more. If you always pick up too much, you can scrape it onto the back of your hand and then dip back in. That's another way to apply it. And then this is my stubborn hairs, where my arch is. They all want to lay down flat. So that's where I pick up just a little bit more product. And I mean like a minuscule amount of product. So I'm like getting super close so you can actually see the little hairs sticking up. So I'm probably gonna pick just a little bit more up just to really get these guys standing up. She presses it onto her skin, which you can do, of course. That's gonna like flatten them and like really make them stick. I personally don't love that because I hate the feeling of like having hairs stuck to my face. So here you can see, even just from me using the product a little bit, I need to go back in right and fill in with my arch. But you can already see how this brow looks a little bit more lifted, where like here you can see how my hairs are kind of just like stuck together, like my natural hairs. You can see more of where I have drawn product on the top of my arch where I'm lacking here. Whereas over here, it looks more concise throughout. And once I fill this area in, it will look a lot better. I just like to give the gel a moment to set. Okay, so here is the brow fixed and filled in. It's not like a significant difference, but I can definitely tell like this eyebrow is just a little bit more awake. And when you're not wearing a lot of makeup, if you just lightly fill your brows in and throw some brow gel in, it will help you look more awake as well. And the pencil that I'm using is this CoverGirl Soft Brown. It's in the shade Soft Brown. This is an ultra fine brow pencil. It's a pretty close dupe to the ABH. It's like maybe a little bit thinner, and it's a lot cheaper. So all right, so this is both of the brows done. I really do love that brow gel. It's totally worth it. And my lash is a little wonky, so let's ignore that. But next up is lashes. And I've seen this trick before, and I don't personally like love the way that this looks on me. Like I get what they're doing. I'm just not a huge lash person, so I don't really wear these normally anyway.
Let me show you how I used to do my eyelashes, and it just really pulled my eye down. I would follow the shape of my eye with them. Start here like that. And do you see like it's kind of heavy out here, and see the lash is hanging over my liner, and it is really just drooping the eye. I just have this lash sitting here, by the way. It's doing a pretty good job just sitting there, but let me show you what I do now. I trimmed them. I haven't trimmed them yet, but I put it on my eye, and then I do not connect the lash with my lid. Instead of connecting it like straight down with my lid, I lift the lash up. This one needs to be chopped a little because it's a little too long for me. But once I glue it down, it is so, can you guys tell a difference? So lifted. Just wait till ever I actually apply it. But do you see whenever I'm blinking too, it's just like all this is like hanging because I connected with my eye, and because my eye is a circle, when you put the lash on it, it's just like naturally droops down. But what I do, so let's say this is my eye, I set the lash up a little bit here, and it's camouflage that I did that. See, there's a gap here between my real and fake lashes, but it's camouflage that I did that because of my eyeliner.
So do you notice a significant difference? I don't have them like glued on, so they're just kind of resting there. But let me know what you think with the difference in lash. Obviously this one's sitting up a little bit higher than I would have it, but there we go. That's more true to the idea I see how it is a little bit lifted, but I also feel like this isn't making my eye look super downturned. It's hard for me to tell and look like straightforward without it completely glued into place, but I don't notice the biggest difference. So we'll see. I'll actually glue it now. Her video, she said that her and Manny are launching a podcast and it's gonna come out early fall, and I'm so excited for it. And I love that they're filming it. I hate audio podcasts because this my ADHD like can't deal with audiobooks, audio podcasts. Like if I'm watching something, I need a visual of it. So I think that will be really good and exciting, and I can't wait for it to come out. Also, if you're somebody that struggles with lashes, I put 3 dots of glue, inner corner, outer corner, in the middle, and I let it sit for like 45 seconds before I go to stick it on my eye. So I kind of visualize where the lash is going to end in the outer corner, and I stick it down in the middle, and then I wrestle and stick the inner corner and outer corner out on. So I'll do inner corner first, and then I'm gonna slightly lift this just a little bit so you can see the separation. Oh, and I just poked it. Okay, so here you can see the separation, my natural lash, the falsie, so I have it sitting the tiniest bit higher. I feel like you could get away with setting it up more if you had a dramatic wing on, which in the video she goes over how she prefers to do her wing liner, and that just wasn't my look for today, so I skipped over that part. There are a couple tips in her video I didn't completely follow because it wasn't relevant to what I'm doing with my makeup today, but I could see how that would make a bigger difference. So right there you can see how it's not completely meshed together. And I'm just gonna let that chill while I get this other lash ready. Okay, so for the other one, I have it floating a little bit as well. As far as this eye goes, like, I don't know. I don't know if I love it. Like, you'll have to let me know. Does it look like my eye is more lifted? To me, it just looks like, if anything, I feel like my eye somehow looks more slanty, if that makes sense. So now I can kind of come back here and finesse it. Again, that lash was kind of wonky, so maybe it's because the lash is wonky, like right here. It's like, all right. So maybe that's my error. I'll see how the other lash looks once it's a little bit more secure into place. Ow. But for now, I'm gonna move on to lips, and I'm not necessarily following what she does in her video. I'm gonna show you guys how I prefer to contour my lips when I'm doing a full lip fantasy. I am someone that just likes a simple gloss and calls it a day, or better yet, chapstick. But because my eye makeup is a little bit more dramatic, I'm like, okay, like I need to do lips. So I'm gonna go all out for the sake of this video. This is a NYX lip liner. I like how inexpensive these are, and they have a whole range of color. This is in the shade Suede. So what I'm going to do is I always go like this, and I try to not have my Cupid's bow be super defined, and I slightly overline in the center on the top and bottom. So for me, it's like riding the line of where my natural lip is, and the pencil being half on my lip and half above it, if that makes sense. My lips are also uneven, so I hate lip liner and lipstick. That's why I just like chapstick and lip gloss. And then I'll kind of blend it down a little bit. And then for the bottoms, I start in the corner and drag down. And that helps to give more plump on the bottom lip, if that makes sense. And see, my Cupid's bow even is a little bit too defined for me. So I'm gonna try to straighten that out. And then now I'm gonna go in with my nude stick in the shade Whisper. This is like a nice nudie pink. And I'm just going right up to where the liner is. So it's like we have some definition, but everything looks nice and blended. And then to top it off, I go in with the gloss. This is the Moon in the shade Moon by Lunar Beauty. And so much product comes off, and I have the smallest lips, so I have to scrape so much off. And that's so much. So I just work on blending that out. And then lightly around the edges, because it is a little bit of a lighter gloss. So I don't want to get it too much on where we have the lip liner. So that is the lips when they're done and contoured. My version of contouring and doing lips. All right, so for these lashes, let me just pinch them together. Gather my thoughts on it. Yeah, I don't really see, maybe it's the style that I'm wearing. By the way, these are Ardell Wispies. I don't see that it's super lifted. I'm not seeing it. Maybe I'll see it better when I'm editing the video and I'm looking more straight onto the camera, but yeah. That wraps it up for me following along Laura Lee's makeup hacks to transform your face DIY plastic surgery. So let me know in the comments down below. I know I was messing around on the cream contour and that would make a little bit more difference, but let me know, what do you think about these makeup hacks? Do you think I look super snatched? To be honest, I don't think it looks that different than what I normally do. It's just a lot more steps, and I will say, earlier I said that this foundation was like 2 shades too dark for me, but now my face is like 2 shades lighter than my body because of all the powder that I used. So I feel like I could have used this, and with all the powder, it would have lightened it up to me looking like a normal, like my face matching my body. Now you can see how much more pale my face is to my body. So that's my only complaint, and that's because the powder I used was a foundation powder. So it definitely lightened me up a lot. But other than that, I haven't worn this much powder in such a long time. I'm sure my makeup will last throughout the day a lot better because of it, but I just prefer to wear cream products, lightly set, and go. So let me know, are there any tricks in this video that you normally do in your makeup routine, or is there something new that you would want to try? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out the link in the description box to find out where else you can connect on me and other social platforms. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.